Hi there, my name is Matthew Brick. I'm a Valor Christian High School student, brother of four. I'm a wrestler, and I'm out to find interesting stories to talk to about, make connections, and hopefully point people to God. Let's get this, the Brick House Podcast.
This is Brick's home. This is your house. Presenting the Brick House Podcast. The Brick House. Here comes the boom.
Hey there, guys. My name is Matthew Brick. Welcome back to the Brick House Podcast. Today is a great day. I'm here with a good person, Ty Anderson. He's a Valor Christian senior, student body president. Let's go. He's been involved with Deca, the Stem Endorsement. Anything else I should add?
Been a part of, first of all, thank you for having me, Matthew.
I appreciate you.
Of course, man. I've been involved in a lot of things here at Valor. Blessed to have been a part of the football program for 4 years. I've been on 4 discovery trips. I will be going on my 5th this summer to Madagascar. I've had the opportunity to work with countless staff and faculty on planning events such as prom, homecoming. I'm currently working on a dance for the All-Stars Foundation, which will be happening this spring. So I've been busy these past couple months, but hey, it's a blessing, and thank you for having me on, Matthew.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, staying busy, that's a great thing. You know, I always hear about that. I don't know, I love it. That's so awesome that everything that you're doing, it's honestly inspiration, and that's why I wanted to have you on here. And yeah, we'll just get right into it. So kind of my first question, we were talking about this just a second before, but you're senior. You have any ideas of where you're going first? Or know what you want to do, or?
Yeah, so for the past couple of years, like you said, I was involved in the Stem Endorsement here at Valor. Ever since I was young, I've just kind of had a weird sort of attraction to engineering and just building stuff. So I think I'm going to head down the road of engineering at the University of Oklahoma. I've already decided it's going to be the University of Oklahoma, 100% done deal.
Nice.
I'm not sure. I'm thinking engineering right now, not 100%, but that's the route I'm kind of thinking. I love being around people. I love being a connector. So something that involves, just being around a crowd of people and being around a group of social interaction is definitely something that's important for me.
Yeah, community. What does community mean to you?
Community. Wow, that's a hard one. Community can mean so many different things, Matthew. I think a community as a general idea is just a group of people, big or small, with common ground, with just a reason to be together. Valor is a community. We're an amazing community. We all have a purpose here at Valor, and we're all connected through the Lord Jesus Christ. He brought us all to this school, and he gave us this amazing place to where not only we can just get the education we need, but to also glorify him every day. And so I think, to answer your question, a community genuinely is a group of people who are just brought together by the Lord and who are just here to serve one another.
And have you found a godly community that you can call your own, or being that for someone else?
Oh, yeah. I would say there's really 2 that come to mind. Being a football or participating in the football program here for 4 years has definitely just taught me the side of the community of brotherhood. Just being with those guys, those seniors who are getting ready to graduate with me for 4 years has been such a gift. And to have that experience where coming into high school can be very daunting and very, very scary for some people. You're kind of going into a new community. You don't really know what to expect. Friends is always one of the big topics is, are you going to connect well here? Are you going to find your group? Are you going to find your place? And being able to have those guys going into freshman year and to have that common ground of, hey, we we just love to come together and just play football, play the sport of football, the sport that we love. And to be able to have that community of people was awesome and was just such a blessing coming into high school.
Oh, that's great. What would you say is like throughout your 4 years, how has your faith strengthened or how has that grown?
Yeah, so my faith journey has been very, I want to say it's been very, very constant is a good word. I feel as if ever since I've started coming to Valor, my faith has been very uphill. Obviously, I've had some downhills. I've had some low points, some high points. But before Valor, I did not have very strong faith in the Lord. I knew who Jesus Christ was. I would occasionally go to church with my parents, and I would occasionally, maybe read a story from the Bible if I was bored. And so having the opportunity here at Valor to really learn what the Bible is, not just what it teaches, but what it is and how to apply it into my life was something that I was very new to and something that was a gift. And it's just been something that I've been walking in ever since I was a freshman, and I've been able to kind of identify myself in the image of God and show just my friends and my family that I've really transformed as I've walked through Valor.
Yeah, no, that's great. Were there goals when you came into high school and maybe aspirations, and now looking back as a senior? Have you accomplished those, or have those kind of shifted into new goals, or still goals that you're chasing after, or something along those lines?
So going into high school, coming out of COVID, we were all in masks my freshman year. I know you're a sophomore, so you don't know that we were in masks my freshman year. But I guess my goal coming into Valor was just to find a group and to find that common ground with people in my community. And just I hated COVID, and it was a really hard time for me because me being as extroverted and as social as I am, having to be cooped up in my house all day was really just kind of rough, and I didn't enjoy it. And so having the opportunity to come here and be in a school that was actually in person was great. But at the same time, there were COVID restrictions. I was getting quarantined almost every month. It was really, really hard to find that connection freshman year. And so having the the goal to find that group of people, to just be reinstated into a school, into a community, was probably the most important to me, because I knew COVID was just humbling, and it was very eye-opening to the possibilities that, hey, nothing is permanent. Everything can be taken away from you in an instant. Just like it was during COVID, I got stripped away from my school, stripped away from my friends that were in that school. I hate to say it, but I don't keep contact with my friends in middle school. COVID, I think, kind of just killed off that friendship. And so knowing that coming into high school, I knew I had to really focus on finding that group of people. And then once you find that group of people, and it's hard, it was not easy, but once you find that group of people, being able to just connect with them and live these 4 years like I have with them has bonded me, not just close with them, but bonded me closer to the Lord, and has been something that I reflect on and I pray about every day, and is just such a blessing.
That's great. That's amazing to hear. I've struggled with this, and like you were saying, it's hard. It's hard to find a group, find a community, find those 3 or 4 guys or girls. But how did you, coming into Valor or just into high school, how did you find those friends and find your group?
Yeah, so I touched on this a little bit earlier, but obviously COVID hits my 8th grade year, March, and I go on spring break thinking everything's fine and dandy, and boom, COVID shuts everything down. Schools shut down. School was kind of a joke at the end of 8th grade year. We didn't even have Zoom classes. It was just assignments were posted on our class Google Classroom thing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that was kind of how it started. And then me kind of realizing that, Valor was going to be the place for me, I kind of started thinking about, okay, how am I going to get myself involved in the community? And going into freshman year, we got approved from CHSA to practice for football. And it was a little bit odd because we had to do all the social distancing. We had to wear masks. We couldn't, use footballs or any equipment because we couldn't be touching everything. So it was really kind of strange. But it was good to go there and kind of see those familiar faces, kind of get an idea of who I'm going to be spending the next 4 years with. But it wasn't that true connection yet because it was just kind of it wasn't the right environment. So freshman year starts, season gets canceled, gets postponed to spring, and we kind of get a little bit. It's disappointing, but we have these practices after school that are just an hour long, and that is when I would say we were able to kind of get the ball rolling a little bit more, and just to kind of really get to know one another. And then CHSA decides to reinstate the season, and we get told late August that we actually are going to be having a season. So it's immediately we hit the ground running. We get equipment checked out. We have our first padded practice, and it's all going. It is all football is in full force, and we're preparing for week 1, Doherty. I remember, and that is when I really started to be able to find my connection within those guys. We finally had the opportunity to take our masks off for practice. We finally had the opportunity to actually use footballs, and we just had the opportunity to bond to one another. And that is where I think I found my crowd of people. And then, obviously just as a 4-year participant, it never stopped growing. And to this day, it is continuing to grow. Every day with those guys, it is continuing to just trend upward. And those guys are like my family. They're my brothers, and I am forever grateful for those guys.
Oh, I'm sure that they're very grateful to have you, and we each learned something from each other. I did football for that 1 year, but it wasn't necessarily for me. But it is a good program. I really do think the people, it's hard to go into a sport and you learn to respect each other because you see how hard everyone is working. It's hard to not to have respect for someone if they're alongside with you and they're busting their butt for the same goal as you. It's something, it's special. I'm sure you can relate to that.
Yeah, I hear you, Matthew. I've never been that guy who coaches would go to in a time of need. I don't know if you know this, but I'm really not the best at football. I mean, I would assume that most people kind of know that. I'm not the most athletic. I'm not the biggest. I'm not the strongest. I'm not, the most athletic. And so I really spent my last couple of years not really playing football, and I kind of went through a rough junior year. But just being able to have that connection with the guys, and then also being able to connect with Coach McGatlin while I'm on my discovery trip to Kenya was really, really just a big help. And like I said, you can be at the bottom, which I was at the bottom after my junior year season. I just was not satisfied with how I was playing, both on and off the field. I wasn't performing well in school, and I was at one of my lowest of lows. And just being able to have that community and to have that bond, not only with the team, but then have that bond and that experience with Coach McGowan in Kenya, was able to just pick me up, and I had the best season of my life this past senior year. Not because I was playing well. I hardly played at all. But because it was that brother bond, it was that connection between us, and not just between us as players, but us with coaches and us with the trainers and with all the people involved in the program, was such a blessing and was seriously my favorite season of football that I have been a part of yet. Not because I was playing, but because of the community and the bond of the brothers and the coaches.
Yeah, were you able to pour into people the same way people were pouring into you?
Oh yeah, it was because I'll tell you a little bit about my junior year. I was playing JV. I was starting the first couple games. I got benched, which obviously as a junior getting benched on JV, a year ago I would have been embarrassed to tell you that. I would have been embarrassed to tell people that. But at this point, I don't really care. It is what it is. It happened and it's in the past. And I don't, football's not my identity anymore. Back then, it was a big deal to me. I took pride in being one of the best players out there. And then when I kind of realized that that wasn't the case, I was not going to be one of the best players out there, it hit deep. It dug a little bit of it dug deep into me, and it was hard for me to kind of get over that hump. And so this year, being able to go into the season with a different mindset of, all right, I'm not gonna be that guy that coaches are gonna put into the game, and that's okay, was something that really helped me. I was able to connect with 3 or 4 players during the season who were really struggling like I was junior year, just not playing and not having the opportunities that some of the other guys that you see, like Gabe and Asher, who are the core of our offense, the opportunities that they're getting. I really got to dug deep just with those guys. I don't want to name drop, but I got to really kind of bond with those guys and help them kind of push through the season and show them, not just show them the other side of football, not the side of, the physical part, the playing of football, but what football at its core truly means and what it can truly be to someone.
Yeah. Just another thing I'd ask, you've been on 5, you said you're going on to 5 discovery trips?
Yes, sir. I've been on 4, going on to my 5th.
What are the
summer.
4 that you've been to?
So the first 2 were just local. The first one, I think it was called Denver 98, and we volunteered at a homeless shelter, a local homeless shelter here in Denver, for 3 days, and it was just cool to kind of get to bond with not only just the families there, but we got to give them a day of fun and give them a day of be not in the situations they were in, which was really cool. And then the second trip that I did was the Colorado Trek trip. It was a trip where we drove about 5 hours to Lake City, Colorado, and we cleaned trails and hiked 2 14ers, which was awesome because that was really a trip where I got to just be in the beauty of God. I got to be just in nature. I got to experience single-handedly what the Lord has created for us, which was awesome. And then my third one, it was the Alaska Iditarod, which the Iditarod race, in case you don't know, is like the dog sled race.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
So we got to go to Alaska, Nome, Alaska, and serve with a church there who helped kind of guide the mushers in as they were finishing the race. We got to do some dog watches at night, just some security and watching the dogs. We got to volunteer at a rec center for the concessions for their annual basketball tournament, which that was really cool. And obviously it was freezing cold there, so very different than being in not totally different from being in Colorado, but it was definitely colder than Colorado. And then my most recent discovery trip, I got the opportunity to go to Kenya, which I can't even begin to talk about. It will take me. I can't put to words how meaningful that experience was for me.
What did you do in Kenya, if you don't mind sharing a little bit, just?
Of course. We kind of started out the trip. We got to Kenya, right? A couple days of travel. We get into Kenya, and our first day there, we stayed around the compound in which we were staying at. It was called the Heart Lodge. We had to stay around there for a little bit because there were protests going on in the city of Nairobi, which is the capital of Kenya. And our ministry did not want us going out during those protests because it was just a little bit of a risk. We probably would have been fine if we had gone out, but they just didn't really want to risk it. So that first day was kind of just like a day for us to kind of hang out around the compound. We helped out our ministry just get daily tasks done, as well as just kind of getting settled into the time zone, the jet lag, getting used to just where we were staying and all that. And then our second day, we got the opportunity to actually go out into Nairobi and do a VBS for a small group of children who were living in the slums of Nairobi. And we also got the opportunity to go and visit where the mothers were raising their children in these slums, which was very, very hard. It was extremely dirty. There was a bunch of trash. There was sewage everywhere. It was not a good situation. And just being able to really lean on those kids that day and have that VBS for them was just an amazing opportunity. The next day we got the opportunity to go to a school to volunteer there. And then the next couple days were travel days, and we got like a rest day to kind of like wind down. And then we went to 2 villages where we had the opportunity to build 2 mud houses, which was pretty cool. Like building a house out of mud. I got the chance to kind of really bond with Chase Zimmerman and Blake Kirschke as we were working on this one little room of the second mud house we were building. Just kind of, getting our hands dirty, just serving these people, the less fortunate, which was just really awesome. And that was probably one of my favorite parts of the whole trip. And then after that, we got the opportunity to go to the Masai Mara, which is this huge landmass where you do safaris, you get to see the animals. We stayed at an awesome hotel, so that was really cool. And yeah, it was a great time, So many things happened, Matthew. I think we could sit here for 2 days and I couldn't say everything that happened.
It just seems like that you really made an impact out there, and that it touched you and and the people that were around you. And I think that's something that I feel like, I've been talking about it lately, and it's just kind of been resonating with me. But I feel the most joy when I'm out and like serving, or it's not what I can get and what I can receive, but rather what can I do.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that it does take courage to go out into places like that, or even just in your local community, and put yourself out there and willing to serve. But because I've been doing at my church, I've been serving with little kids, and
it's awesome.
It's something that it's just a small step for right now, but it can turn into something, and it's just making me realize that if I can just reach one person like this podcast or whatever, that's my goal. That's just what I want to do. I want to serve others, not necessarily what I can get out of it. And it takes courage to do that, and it takes humility, and it's just something that I'm working on. But it seems like that you really made a difference out there, and that it's something that you're going to hold on to for your whole life. And
yeah, forever. I think as Valor students, Matthew, this is something that we can't take for granted. If there was one thing that I would tell a freshman coming into Valor next year, it would be do a discovery trip, because the impact not only that you're going to have on the people out there, but the people, how they impact you, that opportunity that you get, how your life is going to change after the experience is going to benefit you 1,000 times more than doing anything locally here. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do anything locally here. Serving no matter where is amazing, and it is rewarding anytime you do it. But just having the opportunity here at Valor to do these trips, to go out and do something that's hard work. It's not easy, these people, the school that we went to was they were having us do some hard work and building these mud houses. It was not easy. And we're doing it completely for free. It's not like we're getting paid hourly for this. But that is where the reward comes out of, is that you're helping these people. And not only are you affecting their lives, they are actually affecting your lives, and they're giving you that opportunity, which was something that I am forever grateful for, and I will never take for granted ever again.
Yeah, that's some great stuff. I say great a lot, but it's good. It's goodness.
Man. It is great stuff.
Yeah. What culture? What if you were to come back 2 years from now? In your you hoping what path would you like to leave behind? What culture would you like to see in 2 years? And what is something that maybe for the better? What is your hopes for Valor and just the people here?
It's a great question, Matthew. I think the biggest thing that I would just love to see coming back in a couple of years would be just the community of people that, it continues to grow at the rate that it is. the difference from my freshman year till now. And I don't know if that's just from COVID or if it's, truly something special. I think it's truly something special. But how the community has changed, how people treat each other, how people are kind of just, invested into Valor has been awesome to see. And I hope that in the coming years of Valor, as I sort of pass on, the torch for student body president, as I kind of go on my way, as I hang up my last Discovery trip, as I hang up my football uniform, as I hang up high school, and as I hang up all these amazing opportunities that I've had the opportunity to be a part of, I hope to see that in a couple years that they just grow and impact the students as they've impacted me. Because the biggest thing, or just the thing that I love most about Valor, like I keep saying, I feel like I'm being kind of repetitive, has been the community and has been the bond of just the students and the teachers and the coaches and the faculty and all the people who make up the Valor community. I hope to see that, it continues to grow and it continues to touch students.
Yeah, I think like what we've been saying and just kind of been resonating with is like, I don't want to butcher this, but it's something along the lines, they say it's like in the Bible, it's like where two or more gathered, God is there, but also like another one that's like, I don't know quite it, but it's like, kind of like don't go into the battle alone. You need another person alongside with you, and I think that's just something that we've been talking about, and it's really it's just something that I'm finding that is like so crucial in my life. Like, yes, sometimes I feel like I'm alone, even amongst like being at Valor or being in kind of like the crowd, I could say, but like if you can just find that one person, like just find that person, like, and I was talking about this last night, but like godly relationships, you want to be able to hold someone accountable, you want to be loved, you want to be that for someone, like you want to be desirable for, like you want someone to desire you, but then you want to be able to desire for someone else and like actually like, hey, how are you doing today? Like, how are you? And then it takes courage. And I think just like if you can find like godly people, and I'm sure like you can hit up Ty,
Of course,
if you're listening into this like a year from now, I'm sure you can still DM him, reach out, but yeah, just find that person. And I don't know, it's been the difference. It's been the make or break so far for me, because I don't know, I can't do it alone. But I just think that's something where I'm really feeling from right now in this podcast, and it's just great.
I think the biggest thing, Matthew, that I want to kind of extend on what you're saying is you can't force a relationship.
Okay.
The Lord Jesus Christ, he sent his one and only son down to die on the cross for us. And it's something that can't be forced. It was something Jesus had to give his life so that we may live eternally with him. And it's the same thing in everyday life. If you come to Valor and you try to force a relationship instead of allowing for it to happen organically, I think that is where students may find the most trouble in their relationships. In my experience of creating an environment as student body president and trying to find how to connect Valor as a whole and how to unite everybody, the biggest thing that people tell me is that when they are looking for that initial friend, like you have been saying, that person always seems to just naturally come into their life. No matter how many times you push them away, if you think maybe this person's not the best for me, that person always finds your way back into their life. I think a good example for me is going to be Coach McGatlin, and my experience in football. It was I didn't really know Coach McGatlin my junior year when I was kind of struggling with everything. I was trying to force a relationship with the head JV coach, which just was not healthy for me, was not working out. And, as Coach McGatlin was trying to, come into my life, as, hard it is for me to say it, I think I just wasn't eye-opening to it, and I wasn't seeing that opportunity for that amazing relationship that I do now have with him. So for those people who may be looking for their community at Valor or just anywhere, if you're an outside listener, you're just at your school or in the workforce, it's finding that one person and allowing for it to happen organically and not trying to force anything.
No, I love everything that you've had to say, and it's great stuff. I think whatever you're going to go out and do, like with your engineering or whatever you set out to do, I think that you can reach people, Ty, and I'm excited to see what you have to do. I got only a few more years myself here, but it's really great to hear what you have to say, and it's just like, I feel like I've always kind of gotten along a little more with people either younger or older than me, or at least like communicatively, like that's not a word, but I've been able to communicate better, and like I just think that you're going to go out and do great things. Along with that, like what are your hopes for out of high school, what with like the gifts that God has given you, what do you see yourself doing with that? Or maybe you don't know. I don't know.
I appreciate you saying that, Matthew. And to be honest, I really don't know. It's been something that I've thought about too, because engineering is really, it's really just about almost like sitting in like a room and like designing something and then going out and building it, and then saying, oh, that doesn't work, let me go refine it. You know what I mean? And I really, as much as I love to design things and build things and having a love for that, I don't know how it's going to look on the side of things, because I want to stay social within a community. I want to continue to have the opportunity to be in a community where I have those friends and I have and I'm social. I'm a very social person, and I don't know how that's going to look in the realm of engineering. I don't know if I can do that in the realm of engineering. I think that's just something that the Lord is going to kind of guide me with. And if it's not engineering, if I'm meant to do something else, then I know that the Lord is going to put me in that spot. And so I really have nothing to worry about. But to answer your question, Matthew, I have no idea how it's going to look. But I know that as long as I just follow the Lord, that He'll show me where to go.
Dude, that's admirable. It's hard to put your trust in God, and especially when a lot of the times, at least, it's for most people, I think it's sometimes it's hard to put your trust into something that you can't always see, and
of course, yes,
sometimes you won't feel Him. God doesn't promise a easy life, but he with a relation with Him, He does promise that He'll bring you joy, and He'll never abandon you. He'll be close to you, and that's just great to hear.
Yeah.
Well, I guess my last question is, like, if you were to get up on a podium and just start speaking, what would you have to say? What would you say right now to someone maybe that's going through a hard time or a good time? Like, what would you just say?
That's a hard question. I like that question, though.
Whatever's on your heart.
I would say, let's say coming off of our topic on my discovery trips, I would say serve any chance you get, whether if that's locally or whether if that's, internationally, like I've had the opportunity to go on. Serving is by far the most rewarding thing that you can do. A lot of times nowadays, I think people idolize things like money and your phone. I think our society is very corrupt. I think people make money in ways that is very unethical, and I think people strive to just live in a bigger box and increase the number that's in their bank account. They just try to increase that number as high as they can get, and they try to live in a bigger house. They try to get nicer cars, and I don't really want to live my life that way. Money is very important when it comes to being able to sustain yourself. So I'm not saying, go out and just be homeless. Yeah. You got to make money, but you can give back to the community. You can take your expertise. You can take the opportunity that we have. We go to Valor Christian High School. We go to, I think, the most prestigious high school in the entire country. Every single person, every single student who goes to this school has a very high chance of becoming very successful. But not everybody at the school knows that we need to give back to the community. And I think the biggest thing that I've learned from Valor and through Discovery and just like as a whole going throughout this journey has been the most rewarding thing that you can do, the best thing that you could do, not just for other people, but also for yourself, is to go out and serve the less fortunate and be that beacon of hope for those people elsewhere out in the world.
Yeah, be the encourager.
Yes.
Well, that's great, guys. Thank you so much, Ty.
Of course. Thanks for having me, Matthew.
Thank you guys so much for listening in. It's been a great experience. Guys, make sure to look out for next week's episode. It's going to be great. See you guys then. Thank you guys for listening to the Brick House Podcast.